Today's video is brought to you by years of bad eating and habits. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we became so fat and gross. Okay, so me and Richard were both very skinny kids growing up. And we never thought that we would be the size we were. Now, I had to work at it really hard. Whenever I was younger and I got really big into bodybuilding, it took me over 2.5, 3 years to get up to 200 pounds. It took me a very long time to even hit 200 pounds. And then once I hit 200 pounds, it took another 2 to 3 years just to get to 215, 220. It took a and I'm not talking about muscle mass. I'm just at weight in general, eating what I could to get up. Then when I started powerlifting, it became even more of an obsession to gain weight. And I tried eating so much food. I was eating 12,000 calories a day. And I only got up to around like 250, 260. And then I cut weight. And then I went back up and cut weight. And I kept doing this over and over again until finally I hit my heaviest weight at 290. And then I came down and I floated around 260, 270 for many years after that powerlifting. And then not even realizing how fat and gross I was from this. I was just happy that my body weight was finally up and I was able to put the size on that I needed to be able to be strong enough to lift the weights that I was lifting. But back whenever I was trying to gain weight, what I was doing for my diet, people talk about, oh, I eat a lot of food. I eat a lot of food. You don't eat a lot of food. You don't. At least skinny guys are like, oh, I eat a lot of food. But you don't know what it truly takes to get fat and gross if you are, in fact, very, very hard gainer. If you're a hard gainer to put on any kind of weight. I'm going to take y'all through my diet and what my daily diet looked like. This is breakfast, okay? I would wake up and have 8 ounces of ham, 8 jumbo eggs, 3 tortillas with 3/4 cup of cheese on each tortilla, 2 cups of cereal and whole milk, 4 pieces of bacon, 2 sausage patties, and then 24 ounces of milk with a weight gainer. That was meal 1. An hour and a half later, I would have a banana and protein shake and whole milk with peanut butter. An hour and a half later, I would have like a 12 taco box. This part would vary day to day, but typically I would do a 12 taco box for one meal. Another one would be a large pizza from Little Caesar. Another meal would be 5 McDoubles with 2 spicy chicken sandwiches with a large fry. The next meal would look like something like 2 foot-long sandwiches or 2 foot-long subs. And then I would do like a family 8-piece meal from KFC. Now also keep in mind, I was doing a banana, milk, protein shake, weight gainer shake with peanut butter and whole milk between each meal. And I ate about every 3 hours. And then I had a shake with a banana and weight gainer between each meal. And I was also eating a family bag size of Dorito every single day, the whole bag. And I did this for months until I finally got up to 290 pounds. And you want to talk about miserable. People think being hungry to lose weight is difficult. Force feed yourself to the point where nothing sounds good and you almost throw up from every single meal you eat. And you have to plan like, okay, I have to wake up 45 minutes early just to have enough time to not throw this food up trying to eat it. And that's how I got so fat and gross over the years trying to power lift. And that's what it took me to gain weight. And you were a skinny kid too. Go over what exactly took you to get to the point where you are now, because you were also kind of getting into powerlifting and you were looking at putting on weight too. So you kind of started doing something similar.
Yeah. Originally, my biggest thing has always been just a sedentary life. But like in the beginning, when I was younger, like a young kid, like I was always skin bones, just very tiny, frail looking, and just like a stick mostly. But as I got older, started getting a little bit bigger. By the end of high school, I think I was maybe like 160, 180, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
but
okay. Oh, that's a good point. Sorry to interrupt. I'm 6 foot, and my whole entire youth, I was never over like 165 pounds. To give you all a reference of how skinny I was, I didn't hit 180 pounds until I was around like 20 years old.
Yeah, like for us, like through like my high school years and everything like that, we went skateboarding pretty much every single day. Like we were doing basically cardio every day. We didn't really lift as much weights. You did lift weights some, but I never really did that. I just cardio. So yeah, I stayed around like 160, 180 through high school. But then after high school, that's more when like the skateboarding stopped, got more sedentary, work kicked in. What's up?
Yeah, so that's the thing, real quick. So whenever we were younger, we skateboarded a lot, but we also did a lot of BMX too. If we weren't on skateboards, we were on bikes doing BMX. So, and then also I had the privilege of being homeschooled. So while you were at school, I was able to work out. So I did work out a lot whenever I was younger, but I didn't know how to eat, so I never gained anything from it. I just thought working out was the way to go. So continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and from there, like I said, in the early 20s, like I just started working, and working out wasn't really as big. Like I worked out with you off and on, but yeah, like we just hit that one point in time in my early 20s, mid 20s, somewhere around there, where we were like, hey, let's see if we can get up in weight or whatever. Let's see if we can get to 300 pounds or so. And we just started eating, and I just happened to be the one that got there because I was able to just hold the weight. And then I held it for a lot more years than I was expecting to. And I just held it, but it even increased it more to where I got to like 320, 330, somewhere around there. And that's what I sat at for many years.
Also too, not to interrupt, but also too, like whenever I was gaining that weight, I was driven on powerlifting. So I was spending a minimum of 3 days a week. And if I was working out 3 days a week, my workouts were very heavy and intense sessions. So I did burn through a lot of calories. Granted, I was eating way more than I needed to, but I was putting my calories to use. You were in the beginning too, and you were working out and you were doing a powerlifting routine with me, but then you kind of started backing off the gym to the point where you just kept eating but not working out no more, and you went to a sedentary lifestyle. And then you were in and out here and there. Like you'd work out for a couple months and take off, work out for almost a year, take off, and you did that back and forth for a while till eventually you just kind of completely dropped out. And that's when you really gained a lot of your weight, and that's whenever it really got to the point where like it's stuck, like
Yeah.
throwing mud at the wall.
Yeah, just showing up at work with my button-up shirts, and the buttons would just be screaming. People didn't want to stand in front of them, sort of thing. So, yeah, that's how it was. And now I was in my mid-30s, and 2020 rolled around, and got the idea to start working out with you again. And I dropped that large amount of weight, got down to 250, 255-ish. And that was a great experience for me. Led me to be a lot more comfortable. But even after that, took some time off again from working out, like off and on sort of things. And my meal structure kind of started falling back away. And I went back up in weight again, but not as high. And I'm coming back down now, which is good. But yeah, it's just, like I said, my biggest flaw has always been more of like just when I stop doing stuff, I really stop. Like there's not really much I do. Like I go to work, I come home, I sit down and chill. And that's pretty much my day when I'm not working out.
Yeah, you come home and fall asleep to get ready to go to sleep is what you do.
Yeah, that was a lot more of it too. Yeah. So like having the ability or like being on a set schedule where I am going and working out and stuff like that, I do enjoy that because it does give me something to look forward to after work. And it also actually makes my days, even slow days at work, kind of go faster when I have that to do at the end of the day. And also with like the meals during the day that I do, like having a structured meal set, like it makes my day go faster when I'm just like, oh shoot, it's like an hour before I eat again. And then all of a sudden it's time to eat. And then it's like, okay, I got 3 hours for my next meal. And then the next thing I know, it's like, oh, it's already time to eat again. So like it helps me through my days in general with keeping me focused, and then having the gym to look forward to afterward. I'm like, you know what? It's like leg night today. Yeah, that's all right. Sort of things. And I like having that focus or whatever. But I have, just like I said, it's always been a bad tendency for me that when I do end up stopping for whatever reason, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get back into it in just a little bit or whatever, a little bit turns into like a month, and then that's 2 months. And the next thing I know, it's like, oh man, it's been a year. So I have to avoid that for myself.
Yeah. And the thing too is like what you said, like when you stop hard, and I've had moments where like I'd back off the training, but I might take like a week or two off and get back to it. And then I've had moments where like I'd either back off the diet or stop structuring my diet and then just eat whatever, whether I stopped overeating or stopped undereating, and I would just eat when I was hungry and eat what I wanted to. And I've had many years to do that off and on. But whenever I was getting ready for a competition or training for a purpose or a date, that's whenever I plug all the holes in my plans, and that's whenever I really hone it all in. But I've had many moments like that. But the most time I'd probably take off from the gym at a time is maybe would be a month. But the most time I ever taken off of the gym in my whole entire life since I started training at 14 years old was when I hurt myself. And I would take 2-3 months off, work out for 3-4 weeks, take 3-4 months off, or 2-3 months. And it was just bad. When I first hurt myself, I try to stay with it, and then I just fall off and then get back and fall off, then get back. And that was the most wishy-washy I ever was with my training. But now that I'm looking at bodybuilding, I've really kind of honed everything and stuff. But my biggest thing is like a lot of people that say like, oh, I eat a lot of food and I have like I wake up and have 2 eggs and a piece of bacon, and then maybe for lunch I have a sandwich and then some chips, and then I'll have like some fruit snacks, and then I'll go home and I'll eat like some pizza. It's like, and I can't gain weight. It's like, well, you're not eating nearly enough. If it is as hard as you say it is for you to gain weight, you are not eating nearly enough to put any weight on, because I was that guy that could not put weight on to save my life, But now that I'm older, my metabolism's slower. My wife has had 3 kids, so I blame my metabolism on her childbirth, because women always say, I got baby weight, I had 3 kids, so my body's not the same. Well, my body's not the same either. Those kids stress me out, beyond. But, that it's just one of those things that like it gets to that point where your body just changes gears at some point, and then it just holds on to everything, and then it becomes a battle keeping it off. Now, fortunately for me, it's still easy bringing my weight down. I'm not having a hard time getting my weight off. I've never had a hard time getting it off because of the way that my metabolism is and stuff like that. But it is a little bit slower and more difficult this time around than it normally has been in my life. But it's still coming down. I know what to do. I know how to do it. And, I'm going to get down to where I want to be. But, it's just years of eating bad and trying to lift heavy and getting hurt and then backing off and cutting weight and dieting, then getting back to it and healing up, then overeating and getting fat and strong, then getting hurt and then backing off and cutting, and just repetition and stuff like that. So, but I think that's going to be it for me for this one. Is there anything else you want to add or say?
Sounds good.
All right. Yeah. So if anyone's having a hard time gaining weight, give that a shot. If you feel like being unhealthy with clogged organs, so an artery, should I say. But that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Until next time, no agony, no bragging.
Yep. Catch you later.